A wise woman knows that her worth is not defined by outside situations, by what society expects from her, or by needing approval from others. She understands deep within that she was made with a divine reason, and her value is grounded in something far beyond passing praise. She doesn't see her worth based on how much people depend on her, how deeply others love her, or how much pain she can carry. Instead, she realizes that she is already complete simply because she was made with great care and purpose. Her identity isn't built on how people view her, but on the truth that she is noticed, deeply loved, and valued by God. She sees how the world often sets impossible standards for women, pushing them to give everything to everyone, to stay in harmful relationships, and to forget their own needs just to keep others comfortable. But a wise woman refuses to believe that her value depends on how much she sacrifices her own well-being. She knows that while kindness and compassion are powerful, they should never cost her self-respect. She won't stay in places where she is overlooked, taken for granted, or made to feel like she's not worthy of love, care, or equal effort. A wise woman draws clear lines because she knows real love doesn't require her to lose herself. She understands that being a kind-hearted person does not mean putting up with being mistreated. She does not allow guilt or fear to trap her in relationships or situations that drain her spirit. She knows that choosing to leave something that doesn't match her purpose is not being selfish. It's honoring herself. She chooses not to accept less than what she's truly worthy of, not because she sees herself as better than others, but because she fully accepts that she was created for something greater. Her confidence isn't rooted in pride, but in a strong sense of who she is. She doesn't chase approval through wealth, popularity, or being in a relationship. Instead, she stands firm in the truth that she is already enough. She won't let comparison take away her happiness or let insecurity lead her decisions. She walks in steady strength, knowing that her value is unshakable. And no one can take that from her. She knows that not everyone will understand her choices, and that's completely fine. A wise woman does not need the world's agreement to walk her path. She understands that being true to her purpose may sometimes upset those who expect her to fit a certain role, but she won't let the fear of being judged push her off course. She stays strong in her beliefs, trusting that her journey is hers alone and doesn't need to be explained to those who fail to see her worth. A wise woman knows that waiting is not a punishment. It is a time of preparation. She does not jump into things out of panic or loneliness. She understands that life has seasons, and she trusts that what is truly for her will come when the time is right. She doesn't cling to quick comfort when she knows something more lasting is being prepared for her. She knows that healing is not about pretending to be okay. A wise woman does not hide her pain, but she doesn't let it take over her identity either. She gives herself space to feel, to mourn, to sit with her emotions. But she doesn't stay there. She grows through her pain, gathers the wisdom from her struggles, and lets go of the hurt. She refuses to allow bitterness to settle in her heart. Instead, she uses her past as proof of how strong and brave she really is. A wise woman is not afraid of what lies ahead. She doesn't allow past heartbreaks, failures, or setbacks to block her from stepping forward. She believes in the divine direction of her life and knows each step has meaning. She doesn't waste energy trying to control things beyond her reach. She puts her focus on what she can do, moving with faith, growing wiser, and welcoming each new day. She knows that her peace is more valuable than anything. A wise woman won't let toxic people, bad energy, or pointless drama steal her inner joy. She protects her heart and her thoughts, choosing to be around people and places that lift her up and help her grow. She doesn't involve herself in gossip, in negativity, or in distractions that bring no good to her life. She knows peace is a precious treasure, and she guards it with care. A wise woman also knows the power of uplifting others. She doesn't view other women as competition, but as fellow travelers on a shared journey. She speaks kindness, offers encouragement, and leads through her actions. She doesn't need to break others down to feel strong. Instead, she shows that real strength is in lifting others up while staying confident in her own walk. She steps away from anything that blocks her from living out her purpose. not because she's careless, but because she knows she was made for more. She doesn't cling to people or habits that no longer help her grow. She lets go of what's not meant for her with peace in her heart, trusting that every goodbye could be a doorway to something better. She doesn't dwell on what's gone wrong, but chooses to be thankful for what the past has taught her. A wise woman finds her strength in her faith, in how she gets back up, and in believing with her whole heart that her life has divine meaning. She moves with self-respect, calm confidence, and a strong knowing that she is worthy of love, respect, and every blessing meant for her. That is why she never hesitates to step away from anything that pulls her away from the woman she was born to become. She knows that setting boundaries is not selfish. It is necessary for keeping her peace and honoring herself. She understands that not everyone has earned a place in her life. She doesn't allow people to misuse her time, energy, or emotions. She doesn't let others take her gentleness for weakness. She sets healthy limits on how she will be treated in all areas of life, whether in love, work, or friendships. She does this not out of pride, but because she knows her value and treasures her inner calm. She knows that boundaries are not just about shutting harmful things out, but about making room for the right kind of relationships. Ones that are healthy, supportive, and respectful. She does not feel bad for saying no to things that do not feel right. She walks away from talks, plans, or people that leave her drained or uneasy. A wise woman knows she is not on this earth to fix everyone or carry burdens that aren't hers, especially when it damages her own peace of mind. She's not afraid to remove herself from places where she is put down, disrespected, or treated as if she doesn't matter. She doesn't stay in relationships where her needs are brushed off, where her voice is ignored, or where she feels invisible. She understands that staying in such places is not a show of strength. It only delays her healing. She chooses to walk away from what blocks her progress, knowing it is far better to stand alone in peace than to be surrounded by chaos. A wise woman knows that people who genuinely love and care for her will respect her boundaries. She never begs for the basic decency of being treated kindly. She doesn't keep explaining why she deserves love and respect. She will not tolerate games, emotional abuse, or manipulation. She sees the warning signs early and does not keep giving chances to people who repeatedly harm her. She doesn't fear losing those who can't honor her, because she understands that letting go of them is not a loss. It is a gain in her sense of self. She understands that walking away doesn't always mean shutting people out completely. Sometimes it just means protecting her spirit from things that are not good for her. She learns to love from afar when needed, choosing to release bitterness while still keeping the space that brings her peace. She does not let guilt keep her connected to relationships that only bring her pain or confusion. She knows that love should not cost her peace, and that real connections are not built on constant hardship or the loss of self-worth. She knows that people will react in different ways to the boundaries she sets. Some will honor them, some will push against them, and some will try to make her feel bad for putting herself first. A wise woman does not let those reactions guide her choices. She stays strong in her decisions, understanding she doesn't need approval from others to do what is best for her. She accepts that not everyone will agree with or like her decisions, but she does not live to meet their expectations. She knows that protecting her energy includes being careful with the people she spends time with. She doesn't stay around gossip, constant negativity, or people who emotionally drain her. She chooses her friends with care, looking for those who encourage, inspire, and truly support her. She builds connections that bring her joy, calm, and mutual respect, not ones based on guilt, pressure, or convenience. A wise woman also values the need for emotional boundaries. She doesn't allow others to dump their fears, anger, or insecurities onto her. She knows she cannot fix people who don't want to grow or change. While she is there to support, she does not sacrifice her well-being to carry the emotional weight of others. She refuses to absorb the stress and moods of those around her, understanding that she has every right to protect her own emotional and mental health. She also respects her financial limits, not letting others take advantage of her giving nature. She knows generosity is powerful, but it should not be misused. She doesn't feel forced to offer financial help at the risk of her own stability. She gives when she can, but never allows herself to be used. A wise woman also guards her time. She does not say yes to everything just to avoid tension or please others. She respects her own time and refuses to waste it on things that don't support her purpose or wellness. She understands that by saying no to things that drain her, she is saying yes to herself, her peace, and her dreams. She is not afraid to decline invitations, commitments, or relationships that do not bring her fulfillment. She knows that creating and upholding boundaries is not something you do once. It is a constant practice. She stays consistent even when others don't like it. She does not feel sorry for taking care of herself and refuses to let discomfort stop her from keeping her peace. She stands by her choices, even when people try to push her past what feels right. A wise woman will walk away from anything that demands she become smaller, betrays her values, or gives up her joy. She knows that choosing herself is not unkind. It is a sign that she knows her value. She refuses to stay in situations just because she's scared of being alone. Instead, she welcomes solitude when needed and uses it as a time to grow and reflect. She knows her life belongs to her, and she doesn't need anyone's permission to put herself first. She doesn't chase the approval of people who don't understand why boundaries are important. She is not scared to let people down if it means staying true to herself. She understands that the right people will honor her decisions, and those who don't were never meant to stay in her life. A wise woman has trust in the journey she's on. She moves forward with strength, knowing that letting go of what holds her back makes room for what's meant for her. She does not fear things ending because she knows that every ending can lead to a new beginning. She steps forward with courage, trust, and the quiet belief that she deserves love, peace, and all the good life can bring. A wise woman knows that her emotional, mental, and spiritual wellness is her responsibility. She doesn't wait for someone else to give her permission to take care of herself. She does not need outside praise to believe in her worth. She sees that making her well, being a priority, is not selfish. It's necessary for a life full of meaning. When she starts to feel drained or tired, she doesn't ignore it. She takes action to find peace and balance again. She doesn't wait until she's completely worn out before allowing herself to rest and recover. She values her emotional state and does not let negative energy take over her life. She understands how powerful emotions are and how they can affect how she thinks and lives. That's why she's careful about what she lets into her mind and heart. She limits her time around toxic people, negative media, or places that bring her stress and hopelessness. Instead, she fills her life with hope, wisdom, and positivity, knowing that what she feeds her spirit shapes her strength and how she handles life's challenges. A wise woman knows that self-reflection is key. She doesn't move through life ignoring her feelings or pretending everything is fine. She takes time to look within, asking herself if the people, habits, or situations in her life are helping her grow or holding her back. She does not run from hard emotions. She faces them. She knows true healing comes when you deal with what's going on inside instead of avoiding it. She knows that real peace isn't found in what's around her, but in living a life that matches her values and her purpose. She makes self-care a part of her daily life. To her, it's not a luxury, but a must. Self-care means more than treating herself. It means protecting her peace, making wise choices, and setting healthy limits. She cares for her body with healthy food, rest, and movement, knowing that her physical health supports her mind and emotions. She feeds her mind with books, learning, and activities that make her feel alive. She protects her spirit with quiet time, prayer, or meditation, staying rooted in her faith and purpose. A wise woman also sees that stress and pressure can slip into her life when she takes on too much. She doesn't let people's demands or society's expectations steal her peace. She isn't afraid to slow down, reevaluate, and change direction when needed. She listens to her body and heart and knows when she needs a break. She doesn't feel bad for resting or stepping back. She understands that she can't keep giving if she's running on empty. She has learned the power of saying no without guilt, knowing she doesn't need to explain why she needs space. She will not let guilt or pressure force her into things that don't feel right. Just because she can handle something doesn't mean she has to. She releases the urge to always prove her strength by doing more. She knows her worth isn't based on how much she gives or how much she takes on. It comes from who she is inside. She chooses peace over unnecessary stress, growth over staying stuck, and wisdom over chaos. A wise woman does not waste her time with drama or pointless arguments. She knows that protecting her peace sometimes means stepping away from conversations, arguments, or situations that bring nothing but emotional exhaustion. She picks her battles carefully and doesn't waste her time trying to change the minds of those who have already decided not to understand her. She accepts that not every moment needs her words, and not every challenge needs her reaction. She values her inner calm more than the urge to be right or to have the final say. She also understands the strength in forgiveness, not just for others, but for herself as well. She doesn't carry the burden of her past mistakes, regrets, or failures. She realizes that showing kindness to herself is an important part of healing and becoming better. When she makes a mistake, she learns from it, makes changes, and moves forward without holding on to what she cannot fix. She does not let harsh self-talk live in her mind, nor does she allow others to define her by where she has been. She believes in grace, both for herself and those around her, choosing to walk through life with a heart free of hate or bitterness. She keeps herself surrounded by people who lift her up and speak life into her. She refuses to stay in relationships that exhaust her spirit or keep her stuck in harmful cycles. She picks friends who encourage her growth and challenge her to be her best. She doesn't accept relationships that leave her feeling empty, used, or invisible. She prefers depth over numbers, understanding that a few real and kind connections are worth more than many shallow ones that don't care about her soul. A wise woman also finds great power in being by herself. She isn't scared of solitude because she sees it as a chance to learn more about herself, reflect, and grow. She doesn't confuse being alone with feeling lonely. She takes time for stillness, to listen deeply, and to understand her path more clearly. She welcomes quiet moments as chances to connect with herself and with God, knowing that true peace starts from within. She doesn't rush through life always trying to stay busy. Instead, she practices being present, fully engaged in the now. She enjoys the little blessings of life. Watching the sunrise, having a heartfelt talk with someone she loves, or simply breathing in the gift of a new day. She refuses to let distractions pull her away from what truly matters. And she doesn't let future worries steal today's happiness. A wise woman walks with assurance, knowing that her well-being is precious. She won't let fear, uncertainty, or people's opinions control how she lives. She has faith in the journey ahead, even when the road is unclear. And she knows that taking care of herself isn't selfish, it's smart. By putting her peace and health first, she makes room to live with intention, to love with fullness, and to give from a place of strength rather than emptiness. She chooses peace, wisdom, and self-worth above all else because she knows she deserves a life filled with strength, happiness, and purpose. A wise woman understands that walking away isn't just about leaving behind a relationship, a situation, or an environment. It's about stepping into a future where she can flourish. She realizes that staying in a place that no longer feeds her soul can be more damaging than taking the brave step to leave. Walking away is not giving up. It's a bold statement of self-worth. It's her saying she won't accept anything that drains her spirit, disrespects her value, or blocks her growth. She doesn't see walking away as failure. She sees it as a needed shift towards something more fulfilling, a move closer to who she is meant to be. She knows not everyone or everything is meant to last forever. Life moves in seasons, and some people or situations are only supposed to be part of certain moments in her story. Some friendships, connections, or jobs have served their purpose and are not meant to remain. A wise woman notices when a chapter is closing and doesn't fight the natural course of life. She doesn't push herself to stay where her spirit can no longer grow. She believes that letting go of what no longer fits makes room for better opportunities, new relationships, and experiences that match her true path. She understands that clinging to toxic people, unsatisfying work, or draining responsibilities out of fear only makes her pain last longer. She won't let guilt, pressure from others, or fear of change hold her back from peace and joy. She listens to that